Welcome back. There is a lot to break down after a wild, I should say another wild weekend of the president on his Twitter talking about Robert Mueller. I want to talk to our panel here, Seth Waxman, who is a criminal defense attorney and former federal prosecutor, CNN's senior political analyst, Mark Preston. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for coming in. And Mark, I just want to ask you, let's talk about this notion through the prism of the Trump universe. Let's just say that Donald Trump fires Robert Mueller.
Right.
What would the ramifications really be, the political and, sort of constitutional ramifications? Would there be very many?
Well, let's just first say that I think that he could actually get to the point of having Robert Mueller fired. Now, he wouldn't necessarily do it. And the Attorney General wouldn't necessarily do it because he's recused himself. First of all, the President can't do it. The Attorney General has recused himself. So then it would fall to Rod Rosenstein. Let's assume that he wouldn't do it. Then it would fall to Rachel Brand, except Rachel Brand doesn't work there anymore because she decided she couldn't deal with this anymore. And it would just keep sliding down to finally somebody would have to step up. Here's the thing. If you had asked me this question 30 days ago, I would say I don't think he could get away with it. I do think he could get away with it now.
Why?
Because it all comes down to timing at this point. If he were to do it and he were to able to grasp onto any little bit of misconduct by that office, then I think he could get away with it. If he were to do it just flat out because they were getting very close to him, then I don't think he could get away with it. But with this president, he could very much do anything, Dan, as we know.
Okay, so we should just say for the record that I have not talked to anybody close to him who thinks it's a good idea to fire Robert Mueller. And I'm sure you've heard the same thing from your sources. Seth Waxman, one of the things that the president is attacking Robert Mueller, again, by name for the first time over the weekend, about is that he stacked his team. He called them hardened Democrats, like sort of the way you describe criminals, right? Hardened Democrats. Fact check, true or false?
Well, I think there are a number of Democrats or people who contributed to the Democratic campaigns of public officials. However, look at Bob Mueller himself. I mean, he was a Republican. So the idea that this is some political entity that's, on a witch hunt for the president, that just speaks against everything that Bob Mueller has stood for. The people that are working for him are career prosecutors that have been doing this for maybe 5, 10, or 20 years, that pride themselves on their integrity and have a reputation that they've built not only through this investigation, but have to, rely on that reputation into the future. So the notion that, this is a political witch hunt and it's all staffed by Democrats, I can tell you, having worked at the Justice Department, I couldn't have told you, maybe except for my 1 or 2 closest associates or friends, what the political leanings of any of my colleagues were. It just wasn't something that came up. It wasn't part of the conversation. It never, in my experience, played into a single case that was prosecuted.
And Mark, the president clearly got his back up and then some by the subpoenas going to his company, to the Trump organization from Robert Mueller's team, something that he called a red line, at least probing his financial situation. We don't know if that's exactly what they're looking for, but they're looking for everything. When he says witch hunt, he's obviously trying to taint the jury. And in this case, the jury is the court of public opinion. He's trying to galvanize people who aren't already by his side to come to his side and then against Robert Mueller.
Right, no, absolutely. Look, what he's not doing is doing a dog whistle. And a dog whistle is a very low tone that is basically sent out to your supporters, right? And your supporters here, and they come in.
This is a bullhorn.
This is a bullhorn. This is a bullhorn, and it's actually very effective on his part. And the reason being is that we all know that people look at Washington, they believe it is a swamp, and they're correct. They see what the approval rating is for members of Congress, whether you're a Democrat or Republican. You're in the high teens at best right now. So for him to say it's a witch hunt, you have all this questioning right now of establishment and institutions at this point. That's why I think he could potentially get away with this.
And I don't want to end this conversation without talking about Andrew McCabe, the deputy FBI director until this past Friday when the president fired him. A lot of controversy around that. I was talking to Lisa Monaco, who was in the Obama administration and worked for Robert Mueller at the FBI and has a lot of experience at Justice, who said, just in terms of the basics of the process, this Inspector General report, which has been going on, a report into the conduct of Andrew McCabe and others with the Clinton probe, isn't public. It's not officially over. And firing him before that is a major breach of protocol. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Lisa and I worked together at the Justice Department years ago here in the U.S. Attorney's Office in D.C., and it's just that. I mean, the idea that this report has come out and rather not come out publicly, and these actions have been taken. I mean, if Andrew McCabe had, given the Russian codes over the bomb codes to the Russians and done something that, required exigent circumstances, we got to get him out of office today, and on the 11th hour before he's set to retire and get his pension, that had to happen because lives were at stake. Sure, I guess we can all understand and appreciate that, but this activity, harkens back to 2016, where 2 FBI agents supposedly kind of got a reporter up to speed on the true narrative of a story that was going to be published. That's a year and a half later, and the idea that that had to happen on the eve of his, retirement, when his pension was in play, just, speaks, the atmospherics of that is vindictiveness and kind of political retribution.
Look, and the fact is we don't have all the facts.
That's
we know
correct.
what he is saying, we know what the president is saying, but we don't have the facts, which speaks to the question of why now? Why not wait till we have?
Right. We're working in the
basics.
vacuum a bit.
Exactly.
Right.
Seth Waxman, Mark Preston, thank you so much.